I hope you guys are doing great. Today we're going to be playing with some makeup and kind of doing a little bit of a story time. And just showing you some stuff I recently got in the mail. And then just kind of talking to you guys today about what's going on with my son. So for those of you that don't know, I have 4 kids. I have a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 15-month-old. Yes, huge age gaps. Those are my babies. So I was talking to you guys yesterday about hold on, let me show you the stuff that I got. So I was really interested because I personally love NARS. I think that their products have stayed consistent in quality. I think that they don't put out a million launches. They put out like groups of stuff. And the most recent stuff is the Paradise Found bronzing powder. Yes, it can be kind of redundant because they they really love their bronzer Laguna because ooh, this is so pretty. Okay, so this is the packaging of this. Look how beautiful that is. So it looks like waves. Beautiful. And then on the inside, it also looks like waves. Look at that. Oh my gosh, Ed, I can almost guarantee you that is an overspray and that does not go deep into the bronzer. Or maybe it does. I don't know. Actually, I think it does. And I just ruined it. That's where I swatched it. That's what it looks like. Gorgeous. So this is Laguna. No, sorry. This is Paradise Found. So this is a new one to me. I don't know if this is a new one to the brand. And then I got, they love to name their stuff after things you cannot pronounce. I swear. Ballarta. That's what that, I don't know if you can see it well enough to, Ballarta. I wonder if that's like a place, I'm not sure. So that's what this looks like, which I actually got this because I thought it was darker than Laguna, which it doesn't really seem to be. It looks like it though in the swatches on the website, on Sephora's website. So we're gonna go in with this one because it's the matte bronzer and I kind of want more of a matte warmth to my face. Oh, this is pretty. Ooh, I like this. Okay, and since I'm so like light right now, I don't know why I said right now, this is working well. Okay, so what ended up happening yesterday with my son was we took him, well, I didn't take him, I called his pediatrician and I told them basically what my problem was that my son is sick and I unfortunately cannot find, and I know he has a fever just from feeling him because his body is literally radiating heat off of him. He cannot get comfortable. We're putting hot towels on or cold towels on him. We're putting those Be Cool strips on his forehead. He's listless. He's just not, you know, he can't get comfortable. He's just crying. And so he does have a fever. I just don't know what the temperature is. And so I love this bronzer, period. Sorry. So that I don't know what to do. And when I listed all of his symptoms, which is fever, runny nose, He has shortness of breath. So when he's taking breaths, when he's sleeping, they're very short instead of just, they're kind of breaths. And that's really scary. My oldest daughter, when she was 2 months old, she had RSV, which put her in the hospital for 2 weeks. And it was terrifying because it literally almost killed her. I thought, okay, I don't think she has the infection that's going around, or my son, I don't think he has the infection that's going around. I think that he might have a respiratory kind of infection. And that's almost, if not, just as scary because he's a baby for one, and he was premature. So he was almost 6 weeks early. So she said I needed to call the hotline for COVID-19, tell them his symptoms, and they will decide whether he needs to be tested or not. And I was just kind of like, what? Wow. So I didn't know that there was testing sites. I have no idea because I'm trying to stay away from the news as much as possible. Now that I've had to be thrown into this, I'm paying more attention. Sorry, I'm trying to see what I should use. Okay, we're going to use a mix. I got some new colors from Give Me Glow. Oh my gosh, these are so pretty. And they're eyeshadows. I think I couldn't use these as bronzers or highlighters. They're like way too dark. Oh, or maybe. I don't know. But I think they would just look really, really pretty on the eye. That one is really, really way too dark for a highlighter. So anyways, so I call the hotline. And we're going to go in and do a second look with the Natasha Denona palette. I'm not really going to talk through it. You'll just see that what kind of a look you can create with it. So I call the hotline and tell them his symptoms, and they said yes, he needs to be tested. And so I was like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Because I really hadn't heard anything about what these testing sites are like, or where they are, or what you do. I literally thought you just go into the doctor and they test you like almost like a doctor's appointment, and no big deal. Absolutely, utterly not the case. So we pull up to the location, or no, I call the hotline. They tell me, okay, so this is what you do. You pull up to this Instacare location. You're going to see tents, and you're going to see a lot of employees, and they're going to be wearing vacuum sealed bodysuits. So when I worked at the University of Utah Hospital here for 5 years as a financial counselor, so I know what they're talking about because I had to wear them before. So they're complete this suit that's sealed with a vacuum, and they have it on their back, and it pumps in, clean, good air, and then releases whatever. And he said that's what you're gonna see when you go there, and that is exactly what you see. There's a security officer that is guiding your car, and they come out and they actually test you in your vehicle. Like, I thought they tested you inside. Like I said, I thought it was like a regular doctor's appointment, which I guess I was pretty gullible and stupid in thinking they'd let you come in if they think you have it. Okay, I'm putting that Give Me Glow on the inner corner. I'm mixing them both. So I get there. I'm completely surprised because they did not tell me this is what it was going to be like when I get there. Like, as far as, no, okay, I'm sorry. They did not tell me there would be tents. I apologize. That's incorrect. So they told me when you pull up, call them. A nurse will come out and test your son in the car. So I just assumed that they were doing that because of his risk of having it, not because this is what they're doing and how they're testing. And so I pull up into the parking lot and I see a line of cars, and there's not like a lot because you can't just pull up to that testing site and just decide to get tested. So you have to have an order from your doctor to be able to pull up there and be tested. So all those people that are there have some kind of a symptom that they're afraid that they have it, right? And the hotline has agreed that yes, you do have a symptom and possibly could have it. Let's have you seen. So there was only like one car in front of me. You know, my poor son, he's asleep finally, and we're waiting. So what the nurses actually do is they come over to your car, and this is what I was watching and observing while I was sitting there. They come over to your car. They are wearing the suits that they're wearing are actually like paper, other than the headgear. The headgear is actually, you know, the vacuum sealed mask that's attached to them and has the vacuum pack on the back. So they come out to your excuse me, they come out to your car. They have these long, they are almost like Q-tips, but the only difference is these are not stiff. They're wiggly. So they have to stick them up your nose. Everyone's like freaking out. Oh my gosh, they're so long. They're blah, blah, blah. The fact that they're wiggly makes it so you can't even feel what's going up your nose. I watched the people next to me getting tested, and they didn't even flinch. Like, it was like nothing. Which is, if it had been like a stick, like when they swab your throat for strep throat, you feel it. It's hard and it hurts. But when they're doing that, since it's just like a little floppy kind of swab, it's not painful because it's not poking you. So, you know, that's how they do it. They walk up, and then they have you roll down your window. You tell them who you are, you verify the information, who's getting tested, blah, blah, blah. So I tell them, yes, it's my son. He's in the back seat. He's, 15 months old. He's sick, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to need you to help me because he's not going to like this, and he's not going to, he's not going to participate. He's not just going to hold still. I already knew that. I just didn't know how they went about it, like if they wanted me out of my car or not, because nobody else was getting out of their vehicles. So she had me get out, and I had to hold his arms and his head still. Oh, this is the new Butter Balm by Summer Fridays. It's my first time using it, so I don't really know if it's good or not, but it feels nice. They had me get out and hold his head and his arms still. And so they have to do it in each nostril. And he wasn't in pain, because literally once she stopped, he stopped crying. He just did not want anyone to touch him. And okay, I'm going to go in with the pink color that's in this, because the Give Me Glow ones are beautiful, but they're not as shiny. So I get out, I help her, he gets tested, and on the phone they told me you should get test results in 48 hours. The paperwork that she gave me said 5 to 7 business days. And she's like, and if you don't get a call, just call this number on this. And she goes, if he is positive, all you have to do is quarantine him for 14 days. And I'm like, that's it? That's the treatment? I have to quarantine him for 14 days? Like, there's no breathing treatments. There's no anything. Like, I'm like looking at her kind of in shock. I didn't really say much because I figured I would take this up with my pediatrician as far as like what I feel like needs to happen next, because I'm his mother, and I feel like the decision of what happens to my son is my decision. So if I feel like he isn't getting better and he needs to be seen at a hospital, I'm going to take him there. Although I know that that is my last resort, because as I mentioned in my last video, he's sick. He's already fighting something. His immune system is low. It is already trying to kill whatever it is that's inside of him, whether it be COVID-19 or whether it be RSV or a flu or something. He had a flu shot earlier this year. He had his vaccinations, and So they, I told them to throw in the flu shot. So I'm just kind of like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. Well, he seemed to be a little bit better yesterday during the day. He was playing a little, still isn't really wanting to eat, which is the part that concerns me, and his, temperature. Oh, and I was finally able to find a thermometer because a friend, I posted on Facebook that I have been able to find a thermometer, and if anybody has seen one at a store, please let me know ASAP. My son is really sick and I need it. And my daughter-in-law called me and she's like, why didn't you call me and ask me? I have like 5. And it's like, okay, I just don't want to impose on anybody and take from their supply. So I was trying to buy my own, and I told her that, like, I don't want to take from you. I'm just asking if anybody has seen any in the stores. But if you have an extra that you can spare, I would greatly appreciate it because I've literally been unable to find any. I, at this point, can't even find children's Tylenol. Fortunately, we have some. But I was just kind of looking around. To see what medicines they had available in case I needed more later. And all they literally had was those Be Cool strips for his forehead. So yeah, all they had was the Be Cool strips for his forehead. That's literally all the medication that we have on our shelves. And please keep in mind too that this is just how they're testing here in Utah. I don't know how they're testing in your guys' states. They may be doing it differently. I'm pretty sure they're probably all sticking to the same kind of way of doing it with keeping people in their vehicles. It kind of eliminates the cross-contamination of people's germs. Like, you're not coming in contact with the person next to you, because what if you don't have it and the person next to you actually does, and now you do because you're sitting right next to them and you're sharing commiserate stories, like, because that's usually what happens. Like, oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, I feel like this and I feel like that, and oh my gosh, me too, and it, especially in this type of a situation, you don't want to feel alone, so you tend to talk to the people around you and kind of want to know how they're feeling and if they're okay, and oh, I'll pray for you, blah blah blah. When we get in these kind of situations, it's kind of it really is a togetherness. I've actually really noticed that, like, a lot of people on my Facebook offering to buy groceries for people that can't, because I will tell you, for the state of Utah, we take care of our homeless and we take care of our poor better than anyone. I don't care what you say. Because the state is run by the Mormon Church, they started the welfare system. We have food pantries everywhere where you don't have to prove anything. You just have to walk up and need food, and tell them how many people are in your family, and they will give you as much as they can. And I used to volunteer at the Utah Food Bank, so I know kind of how that works. You will not go hungry here. Whether you're homeless, whether you're just going through a financial crisis, you will not go hungry here in years. I'm sorry that this is dragging on so long. It was not supposed to. This was not supposed to turn into some kind of a Crimea River rant, and I apologize if that's what this is coming across as, because it's not. I'm so fortunate to be in a position now where I'm not struggling like that. And I thank God for that, because it was not an easy situation to, like, no, wrong words. The road from struggle to where I'm at now was not easy. It was not easy. Churches here do an amazing job of, like I said, having pantries, offering jobs. You can volunteer at the churches and they will help you pay your bills. They will help you pay your rent for months and months and years. If you volunteer to help in their food pantries, or if you volunteer to help in their, in any of their locations, doing various odd jobs, you will not go hungry here. And if anybody tells you differently, then they don't know the resources that there are. When I worked at the U, I really got a lot of knowledge of the resources that are available out there to people, because we could tell people, because we would have to ask you, like, are you struggling at home? Are you in a domestic violence situation? Are you hungry? Is there enough food in your home when you go home from the hospital? Do you need, some hotlines? Do you need some resources as far as how to get more food? And so I knew those companies and organizations but like the back of my hand. So yeah, we are in a complete bubble, but don't get it wrong. Don't get me wrong. There is struggle here. We have homeless. We have, I'm like rambling. It is hard here. It's just not as hard as I have seen in other states. Where, like, when I went to Vegas for the first time last year, and I saw, I don't know what they call it, if it's like called Skid Row or what it is. It was like a homeless area. It was by a church, and I have never seen so many homeless people in my life. Tents everywhere, and people just sleeping on sidewalks. They won't allow that here. You have to kind of move along. They don't just let you sleep on the street. We're not a sanctuary state like how San Francisco is. And if you don't know what that is, you'll have to look it up. This could go on forever if I keep going into every detail of everything I'm talking about. But you do have to move along, because we do have shelters. They're not going to allow everyone to just sleep on the streets, because it becomes a big issue. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm literally sitting here like I don't know what to do with myself, because I'm letting him sleep, because I want to see how he wakes up, because last night was horrible. I got no sleep. He was just so uncomfortable, and he was just all over the bed, and he was just crying, and we were trying to cool him down. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I was watching some news stuff, and it is pretty alarming. I was staying away from it until I got kind of thrown into it with my son being sick. Wow, I didn't realize that this many people are sick in the United States. Right now we have 273,403 people sick here in the United States, which is actually more than Italy, which I've never ever experienced in my lifetime anything like this. So I'm kind of thrown back by everything that's going on. And then for the president to get on and say such reckless things, that he's not going to wear a mask and it's voluntary, and if you don't want to, don't. I literally just watched him say that. Wow. I'm sorry, my video is all over the place. Let me kind of reiterate, gather my thoughts and get into what I was talking about. So my son got tested. We won't know for 5 days. He is still sick, so I am going to take him into the hospital, which I really didn't want to, because like I said, of the fact that he's already fighting something. But I feel at this point I have no choice, because he's not getting better. I hope and pray that he does not have COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. I know that people are getting demonetized because they say the word, and it's like, I'm not monetized, so what are they going to take from me? My channel? Like, I think I'll leave this video saying, take care of each other. If you have elderly neighbors, make sure that they're okay. Because likely if they have children, their children are on their own lockdown. And if you can and you can afford to help people around you, do it. Because if we don't take care of each other, who's going to take care of us? Nobody. This is terrifying, and this is probably the only time in my lifetime I've ever seen anything like this. And let's do our part in trying to stop it from happening, which I really don't want to leave the house. I want to stay home and try to take care of my son on my own, but I don't feel like I have the ability to make him better at this point. We're going on day 3 of fevers, and him not wanting to eat. He's drinking, but he's not eating. So he needs to eat food. And if he has RSV, that isn't something I can treat at home. He needs to be seen in a hospital. So wish us luck. Pray for us if you do believe in God. I do greatly believe in God. And just, take care of each other. Stay in if you can. And just remember that staying in really does minimize being around each other, because it's who you're around, and it's who that, person was around, and who that person was around, and who that person was around. You never know. You never know. So it's best to just stay home and stay away from everybody. Don't let people come to your house. Disinfect your packages when they come, if they come. You can cease your mail. No utilities are getting shut off. So you can put a hold on your mail until after this is done, so you don't have to go to the mailbox and touch mail, knowing God knows you don't know where it's coming from. Just take care of each other and take care of yourselves. And that's the only thing you can do to prevent this from spreading. It really is. Okay, I think what I have on my face really doesn't matter at this point. So I will see you guys in the next one, and I will kind of keep you updated on what's going on with my son. All right, guys, take care. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next one.